Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to answer the question, will Alex Pereira reign over the light heavyweight division? Or is he going to lose his first title defense against who I believe is Jamal Hill? Now, before we get started, I'm not going to go over every ranked fighter in the light heavyweight division because if I do that, this video is at least 30 minutes long and I want to keep this short and sweet relative to the other videos on my channel. But before we begin, if you like my content, please consider a like, a subscribe, and without further ado, let's get started. The first fighter I want to talk about, I'm going to try to keep this in order of like least likely to beat Alex to most likely. And as much as I love him as a fighter, Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker, the only thing that I would say that gives him a slight edge in fighting somebody like Alex is he's extremely unconventional. And I know that sounds like a cop-out, like, man, like, crazy is the best base for MMA. But there is something true to that, because at that high level of MMA, a lot of, when it comes to at least striking, a lot of it is predicting what your opponent is going to do. So, when you have two kickboxers that are fighting each other, most of the time that turns into a point fighting matchup, because they're playing with the same rule set. So, for example, like, Israel Adesanya, phenomenal striker. Most of the strikers at middleweight, you can predict what those fighters are going to do. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to do just enough to win a decision, and I'm not going to risk it. Johnny Walker is just chaos, man. Like, it is so hard to predict what type of Johnny Walker we're going to get. Because in one world, we get him absolutely dismantling Paul Craig. And then we get his other performances. The one where he got turned into a meme for like a month. But Jamal Hill has crazy power, and we'll get to him later. But I'm going to say that he's the least likely to beat Alex. Because Alex is also unpredictable. If you just watch Alex Pereira do like pad work, he doesn't look like somebody that you'd imagine to be a double champion in Glory Kickboxing and now a two-time middleweight and light heavyweight champion in MMA. He just doesn't look conventional, but nobody's going to deny that he's a phenomenal striker. And for that, I think Alex Pereira would shin Johnny Walker very early. So if it comes to that, Alex Pereira slaughters. The next dude, I would probably say Khalil Rountree. Like, Khalil Rountree has a solid chance. And the only reason that I'm saying that, and it's not just recency bias, because Khalil Rountree might have just landed the meanest punch to start a finishing sequence I have ever seen. That was nasty. Now, Khalil Rountree, I would say his best bet, I mean, you have to mix up the wrestling and the striking, especially when you're fighting Alex Pereira, because I think Alex Pereira outstrikes anybody that he fights at light heavyweight. And this is kind of off topic, but Khalil Rountree used to weigh, it was either 300 or 400 pounds. And there is something about people that conquer their demons like that are just scary human beings. Like, I'm going to be real with you. If there is a fighter in the light heavyweight division that I believe if he was given the choice to die in the octagon fighting Alex, it would be Khalil Rountree. I think Khalil has that dog in him to be like, well, if I'm not going to beat Alex, I'm going to take my last breath here. And I think because of that, he goes above Johnny Walker. Now, the last two, it's purely just stylistics. The second most likely would be a Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill is the only guy in that division that I believe has the power to force Alex Pereira to respect him. I don't think... So if you watch Alex Pereira, he does very well when he's able to walk you down. Every time that Yuri was getting ahead of Alex Pereira, it was because he was forcing Alex on the back foot. And yes, before you go in the comments saying, well, Alex Pereira was able to beat Yuri Prochazka off a counter off his back foot. That's true, but I almost guarantee you he learned that from the Israel Adesanya fight. And maybe that's a new thing for him, realizing that I can't walk down these big 205ers anymore. That I may have to get better at countering, and that could be the new thing for Alex. But Jamal Hill has crazy power. I'm going to tell you this right now. Jamal Hill is one of the most ridiculously underrated people at light heavyweight. I remember when he became champion, you had Ariel Helwani basically saying, well, Yuri's the real champion. Brother, what are you talking about exactly? Yuri Prohaska was going to lose a decision to Glover Teixeira. He got the win, make no mistake about that, and that is a fight of the year. Jamal Hill worked Glover so bad that I have not seen Glover take a beating like that since John Jones, bro. And we were like, oh, no. Yuri's better. I believe Yuri is still ranked higher than Jamal, which is kind of crazy. But Jamal Hill has the power to beat Alex Pereira, but not the striking acumen. And I do believe Jamal Hill is serious about not taking Alex Pereira to the ground. If you don't know, Jamal Hill said, I believe it was on his YouTube channel. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. He's pretty entertaining. Jamal Hill says that when he fights Alex Pereira, he wants to prove a point and he wants to outstrike him. I think he has the power to do it. I don't think he has the striking acumen to do it. But then again, Sean Strickland was able to beat Israel Adesanya, who on paper is infinitely better at striking than he is. So it could happen. But I have a feeling Alex is going to get that done unless Jamal Hill utilizes his wrestling. And I think if Jamal Hill submits one person in his MMA career, it might be Alex Pereira. And the final person that I'm going to name for who I think is going to beat Alex Pereira, sadly, is Magomed Ankalaev. Now, the reason why I say sadly is I'm not just hating on Magomed, but Magomed is currently being given his third number one contender fight. And this is his third. Jan Blachowicz was meant to be a number one contender fight. Ended in a draw. That I would lean towards Jan, but I understand the draw. Fights Johnny Walker. Let's be real. That was a gimme fight. They did it in Abu Dhabi. Ankalaev stylistically is a nightmare for just about everybody, including Johnny Walker. And Magomed got it ruled a no contest. People give Johnny Walker shit for that. I'm going to be 100% honest with you here. If we're going to make Petr Yan lose the title off a DQ, okay, Magomed loses his number one contendership off a DQ. That was bullshit. And now we're going to reschedule that for another number one contendership in favor of Magomed. So Magomed Ankalaev better beat Johnny Walker. And if he doesn't, I don't even mind if the UFC just buries him in the rankings. Because, brother, this is your third number one contenders fight. And you're better. You're better than everybody else. Stylistically, Jan was 50-50. But you should beat Johnny Walker. And I do think you beat Alex. But I'm going to tell you this right now. If Alex Pereira hits that flying knee KO that he hit in kickboxing, and I believe it was his second fight in the UFC, I genuinely don't know who beats Alex. This is how I know if Alex is going to reign as champion in the light heavyweight division. If he's able to beat Jamal Hill, he beats the only person that I believe can outstrike him. And if he beats Ankalaev, he beats the only person that I believe could take him down at will. If he does that, bro will reign until he retires. And we're not even going to entertain the conversation of competing for being one of the best light heavyweight, because you could never take that away from Jones. But he could be the second best. Like, it's not a large achievement. Like fun fact, despite John Jones dominating the light heavyweight division for as long as he has, I believe the light heavyweight division has the most champions in UFC history. Because almost every single time somebody is crowned the light heavyweight champion, they don't retain the title. Like, it is shocking how many times the light heavyweight title has changed hands, despite John Jones conquering that division. So if he rounds up a good 4 title defenses, if he beats a Jamal Hill, 1, beats a Magomed Ankalaev, 2, Nikita Krylov, he's going to be beating these people. And then we could be talking about him being the second best light heavyweight of all time. But if you think I'm wrong on any of the things I've said in this video, go in the comment section, say where I'm wrong. If you got any constructive criticisms of how I can make this better, this is day 12 of daily MMA content, and I'm learning something every single day. And if you enjoy this content, please consider a like, a subscribe, and I think that's going to be it. Adios, guys.